And in sports, Ohio football finds out what bowl game it'll play in. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Ethan Sargent. Welcome to Newswatch. The former chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio is the latest to be indicted in connection with the nuclear bailout scandal. The indictment of former PUCO chair Sam Randazzo comes a little over 5 months after multiple former Republican lawmakers, including Larry Householder, were sentenced to prison on racketeering charges. Randazzo is being charged with an 11-count indictment on charges of bribery, wire fraud, and illegal monetary transactions. Randazzo could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted of these crimes. The indictment alleges Randazzo accepted $4.3 million by First Energy and used it, quote, for his own personal benefit. One of the biggest cereal makers in the U.S. is closing its plant in Lancaster. Post Consumer Brands says the facility is planned to close by the end of September 2024 to reduce its capacity in the cereal production network. Its production capabilities will be transferred to other post-manufacturing locations. The facility has approximately 200 employees. The company says it has discussed with the union representing the employees at the facility and has notified them of the decision. The Nelsonville Police Department is warning people about a scam happening on Facebook. The scam involves Facebook posts and messages that are advertising Nelsonville Police Department hoodies, mugs, and other, quote, exclusive items for sale. They ask that if you see any of these posts, do not engage with the site and do report it on Facebook.
Good evening. I hope everyone had a great weekend and a fantastic Monday so far. Weather today has been pretty different from yesterday. Yesterday it was rainy, it was windy, but right now we're starting to see our skies clear a little bit and things are beginning to cool down. Right now it's about 39 degrees outside. Wind is definitely not as gusty as it was yesterday. And we're starting to see that humidity creep up a little bit since we had that rain, putting a lot of moisture into the atmosphere. Now today we saw a lot of those clouds from a low pressure system that moved through northern Kentucky, really sweeping through, creating this sort of trough with these clouds as they move through, producing a little bit of rain in northern Kentucky and 1 or 2 pop-up showers in Ohio, but for the most part that system has moved on, and that's why we're starting to see a little bit of clearing going on. And here's a good look at that radar. Throughout the day today, a lot of that rain really just to the south of us, and again 1 or 2 showers mainly near Chillicothe, but for the most part nothing down here in southeast Ohio. But that has left us with temperatures high of today of Athens around 47, so definitely a big difference from what we're seeing right now. Lancaster about 41, Newark 43, and Zanesville 44. So these are all highs for today, and things are definitely going to keep cooling as we move throughout the rest of this evening. Be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast, so we're going to take a look at a little bit of mixed precipitation happening these next couple of days. Back over to Ethan.
Thanks, Emily. Ohio Democratic House Representatives have introduced a bill to immediately nullify the 6-week abortion ban within the state. This action comes in the wake of Issue 1's passing last month, where voters in Ohio approved a constitutional amendment on abortion access. The bill is expected to also include immunity for abortion providers and will bar employers from discriminating against patients because of reproductive decisions. The bill will face opposition from Republicans as the leaders of the party in Ohio have stated that the courts should decide the future of abortion-related laws. The findings of the School Bus Safety Task Force are expected to be released next month. The committee, organized by Governor Mike DeWine, is said to be more prepared and understanding of the mental health ramifications from these traumatic incidents. The committee will release findings in January after winter break. The committee came about in the wake of 2 tragic crashes in Clark and Licking County earlier this year involving school buses. There has already been legislation introduced as House Bill 279 would require every seat on a school bus to have a seatbelt. Still ahead, the pool of Republican presidential candidates continues to shrink, and Alaska Airlines makes a big move in the travel industry.
We have some rain on our forecast and even some snow flurries. Stay tuned to Newswatch to find out how this is going to impact you.
Their music defined an era. And in 1997, the Bee Gees were captured in all their glory. one of pop music's most original bands. Bee Gees, One Night Only.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Join the renowned Tabernacle Choir on Temple Square, along with Broadway and television star Kristen Chenoweth.
Right this very minute.
You'll enjoy many of your favorite holiday classics.
What child is this?
Celebrate the season through song and dance in this special Christmas concert.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
There is one less person running for president of the United States. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum announced he has suspended his campaign for president. Burgum launched his campaign for the Republican nomination in June. He did not meet the qualifications for last month's third debate and was also unlikely to qualify for this week's fourth debate in Alabama. In a statement, Burgum took a swipe at the Republican National Committee, saying their debate requirements are, quote, nationalizing the primary process, end quote. He went on to say none of the debate criteria are qualifications for doing the job as president. A new report shows many vulnerabilities that are taking place in the nation's aviation safety system. According to the New York Times, their paper highlights several incidents where staffing shortages and working conditions have stretched air traffic controllers to the limit, both physically and mentally. Laura Aguirre has more.
When we look at air traffic control equipment, we're using aging equipment, paper strips. We don't have ground radars at most of our facilities.
But it's not just an aging infrastructure putting air travelers in potentially grave danger. A blistering New York Times report says controllers are being pushed to the brink. Using open records requests, the Times found reports of some controllers admitting to being drunk, smoking marijuana, or experiencing violence on the job, in some cases even sleeping during a shift. The National Air Traffic Controllers Association tells CNN controllers are overworked and understaffed.
The shortage is a big problem. And if you look at how long it takes to get a certified air traffic controller from the academy to certified in a facility, could take 2 to 3 years.
My initial focus has been on how to make these numbers go up quickly without lowering standards.
The National Airspace System Safety Review Team points out that the current federal hiring plan, when factoring in retirements and other attrition, brings on fewer than 200 new controllers by 2032. Some relief could come from the FAA's Collegiate Training Initiative, which fast-tracks getting controllers into control towers using select colleges and universities.
Get new people into the facilities, get them certified. It's going to take, 2 to 3 years, but we'll be caught up and we'll start to actually see more than 6 controllers a year increase.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The FAA says that it has been dealing with any employee problems like drinking, sleeping, or drug use on a case-by-case basis. Speaking of air controllers, a major move has been made in the travel industry. Alaska Airlines has come to terms on a deal to purchase Hawaiian Airlines, according to officials from both companies. The combined organization will be based in Seattle, but Alaska Airlines says it will establish a major hub in Honolulu. John Loring reports.
The two airlines who bear the names of the 49th and 50th states are joining forces.
We are coming together and joining networks. This will be pro-consumer and pro-competition.
For a price tag of $1.9 billion, Alaska Air announced its plans to buy Hawaiian Airlines.
Both airlines bring a tremendous amount to the table here, and it's going to be a great combination going forward.
The agreement between the two former rivals calls for both carriers to hold on to their individual names.
These brands are so beloved in the areas that they serve and the massive amount of loyalty that they've accrued over the years, that we're going to do something unique and deploy both brands in the combined company.
Officials say the combined airline will have more than 1,200 departures per day and will be able to compete with bigger airlines like American, Delta, Southwest, and United.
I'm excited about what this combination does for the business, and I'm excited about the opportunities that our guests and our employees have with the business going forward.
The deal, which is expected to plod along like a taxiing plane, could take between 9 and 18 months to hammer out and it needs the approval from the boards of both carriers and U.S. regulators. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The Association of Flight Attendants that represents both airlines issued a statement saying it'll be paying close attention to the merger to see if it'll improve conditions for flight attendants. Almost 1.9 million people in Gaza have been displaced since the beginning of the war between Hamas and Israel. According to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees, that's more than 80% of Gaza's total population. The agency also says nearly 1.2 million are sheltering in its facilities across the Gaza Strip. But UN officials say another wave of displacement is taking place as the Israeli Defense Forces step up operations in southern Gaza. According to the agency, 218 displaced people have died while staying at UN facilities, and more than 900 have been injured. The agency also says that facilities have been hit directly since the beginning of the war, and 55 sustained collateral damage.
Good evening. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday today. We've seen quite a bit of improvement in our sky conditions compared to earlier today. Right now, skies are clear, definitely better from those cloudy skies that we saw earlier, even those rainy conditions yesterday, but it is a little chilly outside. It's about 39 degrees, but the wind has died down. We're looking at about 3-mile-an-hour winds, but our humidity is up, so a lot of different things going on right now. So why we saw some clouds today is due to this low pressure system that's just sitting to the south of us near Kentucky. This low pressure system brought in some clouds and a little bit of rain that didn't really impact Ohio. Around Chillicothe had some light showers earlier today, but for the most part, this was just a lot of cloud coverage for Ohio, and now it's starting to clear up. But you may notice a little bit is beginning to go on out west. A bit of a system is beginning to develop, and stay tuned because I'll talk about that here in just a minute. But in the meantime, as these systems continue to move through, they're continuing to pull a lot of that cooler air from up north, and we're seeing temperatures around the 30s and in the 40s, and that's right where we're sitting and going to be sitting these next couple of days. Now you may also notice that Kansas City is a bit warm outside, 76 degrees, and I bet you wish you were there right now because unfortunately that system is malfunctioning, and it's going to be another chilly night tonight. It's going to be about 27 degrees, and we're looking at partly cloudy skies, so even though skies are clear right now, we're going to see another wave of cloud coverage begin to move in, and that's even going to bring in a little bit of precipitation. So right now we're seeing a little bit of high pressure in our area, but that's not going to last very long at all, as this is going to continue to move over towards the east coast, and this low pressure system is going to continue to develop as we have a warm front in front of it that's pulling a lot of this warm air from the south, and that's why we see this rain behind it as opposed to just north of it where we have a little bit of snow coverage. So we're going to see this wintry mix begin to move into Ohio. But as far as tonight goes, we see that low pressure system really start to move in. Those clouds begin to move in, and right here you can get a good look at where that system is really stretching and just kind of curving into Ohio. And as far as Athens go, we'll start to see that rain around 8 or 9 in the morning. It'll leave us with a pretty rainy morning and into the afternoon as well. So tomorrow we'll have that 80% chance of showers with a high of 73 degrees. That may even be a little bit of snow as well. So just depending on where you are in the state and what temperature you're seeing outside, we may begin with some snow flurries down here in southeast Ohio, but that'll turn to rain as this rain continues to push through and that low pressure continues overnight tomorrow night, pulling in a lot of that precipitation with it. And Wednesday, that low pressure system has moved away, and we're left with a weird mix of rain, snow, and even a little bit of sleet. So things are going to look a little funky outside on Wednesday, but it'll at least be in the 40s. So we're expecting that temperature to be about 41 degrees, but overnight it'll definitely be on the cooler side, about 26 degrees. And Thursday, we'll see that system start to clear as we see mostly sunny skies, but it's setting us up for another rainy and cooling down weekend with a possible of snow on our Monday morning next week. Back over to Ethan.
Thanks, Emily. Going out in the cold unprepared is a super easy way to get sick, and nobody wants a sick child for the holiday season. However, respiratory illnesses among children in the U.S. are up, especially for kids under 5 years old. Mike Valerio has more.
After a huge surge of respiratory viruses in the winter of 2022, pediatric hospitalizations for those illnesses now are ticking back up. Despite the trend, Dr. Scott Hadland, a pediatrician in Boston, says he is not concerned by the numbers.
I would say most pediatricians and public health officials that are keeping an eye on this are not worried right now.
Health officials in Warren County, Ohio, said last week the area saw an outbreak of pediatric pneumonia cases. Respiratory virus activity is especially high in the southern and in western U.S. But Dr. Hadland says
the pathogens or the viruses and bacteria that are involved in these infections are ones that we see every year. And so we might be seeing higher than usual rates, or we might see some areas that have small outbreaks of these, but this is standard and this is quite expected, and this is all very manageable.
Meanwhile, China is experiencing a higher than usual rate of respiratory infection right now, which is causing some concern. But the head of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. Mandy Cohen, says the surge is all related to existing viruses.
We do not believe this is a new or novel pathogen. We believe this is all existing, meaning COVID, flu, RSV, mycoplasma.
In terms of fighting back, for the first time ever, vaccines are available for all three of the major fall and winter respiratory viruses. They are flu, COVID-19, and just approved this year, vaccines for RSV. In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
Nearly half of all adults in the United States have high blood pressure. But a recent study suggests some people may be misdiagnosed with hypertension because of the way in which their blood pressure is taken. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more.
In the U.S., nearly 120 million adults have high blood pressure, but recent research suggests some of them may be misdiagnosed.
If you don't get an accurate reading, you don't know what you need to do, whether it be to intensify therapy, reduce therapy, or even if somebody's hypertensive.
In research presented to the American Heart Association, Dr. Randy Wexler with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says millions of people with normal blood pressure may be told their levels are too high because the patients are not in the proper place or position during the reading.
That leaves open the possibility that there are either a lot of people being diagnosed with high blood pressure who may not actually have it, or you have somebody who has high blood pressure and is controlled, but you're intensifying therapy, which may not need to be intensified.
American Heart Association guidelines call for patients to be seated in a chair with their back supported and feet flat on the floor, wearing the blood pressure cuff at heart level. 30 minutes before the blood pressure check, there should be no smoking, no caffeine, and no exercise. The patient should also sit still for 5 minutes beforehand.
It doesn't take a lot of change in blood pressure to have large impacts.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
If you're taking your blood pressure at home, the American Heart Association says to keep a log of your readings and to bring it to every checkup.
Coming up in sports, the Bobcats find out which bowl game they'll be playing in. That story's still ahead. And for the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
The very first time I got to go watch Dog Team, and when he pulled the hook, I'll never forget the tear that went off my face.
Anytime I said G, or hot, or straight, they'd be like,
You're pretty tough sled dog for a shy little girl.
I want to go as far as it's still fun.
Sunday at 11 on WOUB.
Better than ever, gonna be great. This is the moment that history's made. Nothing can stop us, ain't seen nothing yet. The lights are on and now the stage is set. This is the day a new dawn is near. The future's here. Welcome to the future.
If you want your life to get better, you got to fight for it.
Welcome to the future.
She just disappeared off the face of the planet.
I want her to know that I'm not mad at her.
Mom?
5 years ago, I was diagnosed with ALS.
Where is the mother of the bride?
I am an American, and I have every right like anybody else.
You have to figure out and learn where you come from.
Agatha Christie's disappearance in 1926 is usually seen as this great central mystery. The famous detective novelist vanished. Was this crisis or conspiracy?
What Christie does brilliantly is show that nothing is too trivial.
It was Agatha's own life experience that allowed her to create the rule-breaking Miss Marple.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
Welcome back. I'm Lucy Schaefer with sports. Ohio football returns to the gridiron on December 16th, where they will play Georgia Southern in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. The Eagles are 6-6 overall and 3-5 in Sun Belt Conference play, while Ohio sits at 9-3 overall and finished with a 6-2 record in the MAC. The Bobcats are looking to have back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in program history, and for a talented group of seniors, this opportunity means a lot to them. Here's Coach Tim Albin on the opportunity in South Carolina.
I'm just so excited to extend a continuation of our season for these seniors, and what they have meant for this program. To have an opportunity to play together one more time is very humbling.
The Bobcats will face the Eagles at Brooks Stadium at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Shifting over to the hardwood, Ohio men's basketball met the Delaware Blue Hens in the Convo on Saturday. In the first half, Ohio shot a field goal percentage of just 31 and was 20% from the three-point line. The Bobcats were down 28-36 at the break, but the second half told a different story. A layup from Jalen Hunter gave the Bobcats a 74-73 advantage with 31 seconds left after an offensive-heavy performance on both sides. And the game wouldn't end here after a failed three-pointer from Delaware's Kevin really kept the Bobcats on top as fans shook the Convo. And this win was dedicated to several players, and one stuck out to the fans and to the MAC. Sophomore guard Elmore James was named co-player of the week after an impressive performance this weekend. James had 21 points and went 9 for 14 in field goals, as well as 3 for 7 in free throws. James is averaging 13.4 points per game, as well as 52.7% from the field and 72.2% in free throws. Assistant coach Lamar Thornton talks about James's impact on Saturday's game.
His plays were just electric, right? Because we were trying to find someone to finish with good base and balance and finish through the contact and get some and ones and put some pressure, on the rim. And he did a great job of just second half, you know what, I'm just going to drive it. I'm going to go right through their chin. I'm going to make some toughness plays.
The Bobcats will meet Youngstown State back in the Convo on Wednesday. Ohio hockey took the ice this weekend, getting an overtime win 2-1 against the Niagara Purple Eagles on Saturday. Ohio went into this match with a chip on its shoulder as they lost to Niagara twice back in October. A goal from Will Cohen early in the second period would tie the game 1-1, and Laker Aldridge would score the goal in overtime to hand the Bobcats the win. This was Aldridge's 10th goal on the season, and the Bobcats moved to a record of 12-7. And Ethan, I got to say, I am really excited about this Bobcats.
It's an awesome opportunity. Just like Tim said, this is one of the best senior classes that's ever passed through this program. To be able to see them play one last time against a very good Georgia Southern team should be really fun.
Absolutely, and just like last season, we get to see them hopefully keep that 4-game winning streak. So really excited.
Exactly.
For that one.
Again, back-to-back program or seasons with 10 wins is the first time in program history that could ever happen, which is an unbelievable story. Thanks so much, Lucy. Airbnb is giving away 3 nights at a decked-out Christmas cabin in Finland. Find out more after the break. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
You make a good team.
As long as we're together, it's perfect.
Surviving Siegfried.
You're the most ridiculous creature.
I hope you're referring to the dog. I'm not going to give up on you. Don't give up on me either.
Dreams do come true. Hey, lad?
Seems they do.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
We have much to be grateful for.
Have you ever had that feeling you're exactly where you belong?
May we all keep the meaning of the season within our hearts.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah!
Stream classic Call the Midwife specials with PBS Passport, leading up to an all-new holiday special on Christmas Day.
In this line of work, it's important to remind oneself there is some beauty in the world.
Put your feet up a minute.
Take me! Harriet! Things I do for you.
It's showtime.
Have you finished?
No.
Cup of tea. Splendid idea.
Well, this is all proving rather cozy, isn't it?
I like it.
Of course.
Hey, it's your old car here. Remember me? Remember us? You barely even turn me on anymore. It's clear you don't need me, but that's perfectly fine, my friend, because you can choose to give this old car new purpose and donate. Vehicles like me can bring significant funds to public television. So call or donate online. Donating a vehicle is easy, the pickup is free, and your gift is tax deductible.
Woohoo!
Finally tonight, the company Airbnb wants to host one family in the North Pole this holiday season. They're giving away 3 nights at a cabin decked out in Christmas decor in northern Finland. And I mean, just take a look at this winter wonderland. They're calling it Santa's Cabin. The town has what it calls the official Santa Claus post office, and the winners can volunteer to help sort through thousands of letters there. They'll also be supplied with elf attire to help get into the spirit. It's the latest theme stay that Airbnb has been offering, like their Ghostbusters Firehouse and Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm going on vacation to the North Pole, I'm not sorting letters. But what do you guys think about
I think it sounds like a
Airbnb?
lot of fun.
It sounds awesome.
I gotta see what the elves are doing up there. You know,
Yeah, I gotta get down to Santa's secrets. I gotta know what's going on up there for sure.
Oh, for sure, especially all the decorations, you know, and all the snow and everything. And unfortunately, we're not seeing it here.
Well,
but
I was gonna say, are we gonna catch any snow right here in Athens like they will in the North Pole for sure?
Unfortunately, not as much. We will definitely be seeing some flurries, possibly in the next couple of days. But tonight, it'll definitely be chilly and feeling like we're in the North Pole. It'll be an overnight low of 27 degrees with those partly cloudy skies. Although things right now are starting to clear up, we will be seeing some more clouds start to move in as this low pressure that's currently out west takes over in this next day or so. So tomorrow we see Athens is right on the line between that blue and the green, and the blue is showing that snow and the green is showing that rain. So we might see some snow flurries tomorrow morning and the afternoon hours, but then it'll unfortunately turn to rain. So don't expect a lot of snowfall to happen tomorrow, especially down here in southeast Ohio. If you live a bit more to the north, you may see a little bit more snow, but tomorrow will be pretty similar to today. Temperature wise, we'll see a high of 43 degrees with again that 80% chance of showers. And Wednesday, that system's going to hang around a little bit for the morning, but for the most part, we'll see that high pressure. And these next couple of days, a big temperature difference as we go into the weekend, and then things will start to cool off as we go into Monday.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. For Lucy Schaefer and Emily Dietz, I'm Ethan Sargent. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org or follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies and